All right, buckle up, wrestling fans, because we are about to take a deep dive into the world of professional wrestling.
We've got this awesome podcast script, and it's going to be like we're right there in the writer's room seeing how all the drama unfolds.
So let's jump right in. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Okay, first up is WWE SmackDown. WrestleMania 41 is right around the corner, and the anticipation is building for the showdown between Cody Rhodes and John Cena.
Now, this is going to be a match for the ages. You have Rhodes, a rising star who represents the future of WWE,
Yeah.
going up against Cena, a true icon of the sport.
Yeah, what a clash of generations.
It's not just about who wins the match.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
It's about legacy and the future of WWE.
Wow, I hadn't thought about it like that. If Cena pulls off the win, it really cements his legendary status.
Yeah.
But if Rhodes wins, it could signal a changing of the guard.
A real passing of the torch.
The drama is just incredible.
And, speaking of drama, we can't forget about the Bloodline.
Oh, man. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, they're always at each other's throats.
Always.
But this time, there's a new twist.
There's a rumor swirling that The Rock might get involved.
The Rock.
Seriously.
Right there in the script.
Wow. If The Rock steps into the ring, that could change everything.
It would be huge. He has history with both Reigns and Rollins.
And he's a global superstar. Do you think WWE would risk it, though?
Risk what?
Having The Rock overshadow their current stars.
It's a gamble, that's for sure.
It would definitely create a lot of buzz, though.
Oh, absolutely. But whether it's the right move for WWE in the long run, that's the million-dollar question.
All right, let's move on to Monday Night Raw. What stood out to you?
Well, Jey Uso picked up a big win against Grayson Waller at Madison Square Garden.
That's quite a victory.
It is.
Yeah.
But the script emphasizes Gunther's dominance as the current champion.
He's a beast.
Yeah. After the match, he actually put Uso to sleep with a sleeper hold.
Oh, wow. So that kind of makes you wonder, does Uso even have a chance at the title at WrestleMania? It's going to be an uphill battle for sure.
Okay, what else is happening on Raw?
Oh, we've got this brewing rivalry between Logan Paul and AJ Styles, with the comedian Andrew Schultz somehow thrown into the mix.
Logan Paul, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, he's really embracing that heel persona, the villain.
I see. So it's like serious athletic competition mixed with some entertainment.
Exactly, wrestling at its finest.
All right, on to NXT. What's going down at Stand and Deliver?
Well, Bron Breakker is defending his Intercontinental Championship against Finn Bálor.
Hold on, isn't Bálor a main roster guy?
Exactly. They're bringing him down to NXT, which is pretty unusual.
So for those who may not know, NXT is like WWE's developmental brand.
Yeah, kind of like a minor league system where rising stars get honed.
So having a big name like Bálor come down to NXT is a pretty big deal, right?
It adds legitimacy to NXT, and it also gives the younger guys a chance to go up against a seasoned veteran.
It's a win-win, basically.
Exactly. Then we have this heated feud between Penta and Ludwig Kaiser. They're going head-to-head in a no-holds-barred match.
Oh, wow. So anything goes.
Anything goes.
That's going to be brutal.
No rules, just pure mayhem.
All right, last but not least, let's talk about AEW. What caught your eye?
Well, Swerve Strickland is on a mission to capture the AEW World title at Dynasty.
Big ambitions.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But he's got some tough competition. The script mentions Jon Moxley and Adam Copeland as obstacles in his path.
Now, those are two guys who know how to fight.
They're veterans, absolute legends in the ring.
So Strickland's got his work cut out for him.
He does, but he's a talented wrestler with a lot of heart.
And then, of course, there's the international title tournament.
Yes. And it's just gotten a whole lot more interesting with the debut of Speedball Mike Bailey.
So what's the deal with this Bailey guy?
He's known for his high-flying acrobatic style.
Oh, wow.
He actually won his first AEW match against Beast Mordos, which was quite a statement.
Sounds like he's a real contender.
Definitely one to watch.
Finally, there's MJF. What's he up to these days?
Well, the script hints at a possible alliance between him, MVP, and the Hurt Syndicate.
Now, that would be a power move.
It would shake things up in AEW for sure.
MJF, he's always got some scheme brewing.
Always.
It's interesting that this podcast script doesn't actually reveal the outcomes of these matches and storylines.
It does, doesn't it?
Why do you think they do that?
Well, I think it's all about building suspense. They want to keep the fans guessing and coming back for more.
Like a cliffhanger in a TV show.
Exactly. They're playing the long game, and it's brilliant.
It definitely makes me want to tune in and see what happens next.
Me too. That's the magic of wrestling.
It really is. So, all in all, what are your thoughts on the state of professional wrestling these days?
Well, I think wrestling is experiencing a real resurgence in popularity.
You think so?
I do. And I think it's because it's such a unique blend of athleticism, storytelling, and entertainment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Plus, with social media and streaming platforms, it's more accessible than ever before.
That's a good point. You can connect with your favorite wrestlers online, follow storylines, and engage in discussions with other fans from all over the world.
It's a global phenomenon.
All right, let's get back to this WrestleMania 41 buildup. I'm really intrigued by this potential match between Cody Rhodes and John Cena.
It's a match that could be talked about for years to come.
A real clash of generations.
Exactly. Cena's legacy is already secured.
Right.
But for Rhodes, this could be his defining moment.
His chance to prove himself on the biggest stage.
And WrestleMania is, well, it's the Super Bowl of wrestling.
It doesn't get any bigger than that.
No, it doesn't.
Ugh.
And with all these storylines converging, this year's WrestleMania is shaping up to be something truly special.
You know, speaking of storylines that have me on the edge of my seat, what about The Rock's potential involvement?
Ah, yes. The
Yeah.
wild card.
Could you imagine the reaction if he actually showed up?
It would be electric. The Rock is a global icon, and his return to wrestling would generate a level of excitement we haven't seen in years.
But could it backfire?
What do you mean?
I mean, could his star power overshadow the other wrestlers and storylines?
It's a possibility, sure. But I think WWE knows how to handle a situation like this.
They've got to find a way to balance the Rock star power with the need to showcase their current roster.
It's a delicate dance, but I'm confident they'll pull it off.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
The anticipation is killing me.
Me too. And you know, as much as we're enjoying dissecting the rivalries and the matches, I think it's important to remember the human element here.
Oh, absolutely.
These wrestlers, they pour their heart and soul into their craft.
They're athletes, they're performers, they're storytellers.
And they put their bodies on the line every time they step into that ring.
It's a demanding profession, both physically and mentally.
It takes a special kind of person to do what they do.
They're true entertainers.
Okay, let's shift gears for a second and talk about the business side of wrestling. We've seen a lot of consolidation in recent years with big companies like WWE and AEW acquiring smaller promotions.
Yeah, it's a sign of the times.
What do you think is driving this trend?
I think it's partly due to the rise of streaming services. Content is king these days.
And wrestling, with its dedicated fan base and its ability to generate revenue, is a hot commodity.
Exactly. So these big companies are trying to acquire as much content as they can.
Makes sense. But what does all this mean for the wrestlers?
It's a mixed bag, really. On the one hand, they have access to a larger platform.
Right.
But on the other hand, there's more competition for roster spots and TV time.
It's a double-edged sword, I guess.
It is. But at the end of the day, I think the fans benefit.
How so?
They have more wrestling content available than ever before.
Good point. And with social media and streaming, it's easier than ever to follow your favorite wrestlers and storylines.
It's a great time to be a wrestling fan.
You know, one of the things I find most fascinating about wrestling is how these individual storylines often intersect and overlap.
You're right.
It creates this complex and interconnected narrative universe.
It's like a giant soap opera, but with way more action.
Yeah, exactly. You get drawn into this world of drama and athleticism.
You're rooting for your favorites. You're booing the villains.
It's all part of the fun.
It's a world where anything is possible.
And that's what keeps us coming back for more.
Absolutely. Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have, but before we move on, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay, I'm listening.
We've been talking a lot about what makes wrestling so captivating, but I think it's important to remember that ultimately, wrestling is about entertainment.
It's about giving the fans a show, an experience that they'll never forget.
It's about transporting them to another world, a world of larger-than-life characters, epic battles, and unforgettable moments.
And that's something truly special.
Yeah, it really is.
And you know what really adds to that special feeling?
What's that?
It's the fans.
The fans, yeah. They're the ones who bring the energy.
They create the atmosphere.
Yeah.
They really do. It's that back and forth, between the wrestlers and the crowd that makes it so dynamic.
You can't replicate that in any other form of entertainment.
Not really, though.
Okay, so we've talked about individual rivalries, but what I'm really fascinated by is how these storylines weave together like...
You're right. It creates this whole universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this interconnected world of drama.
Betrayal, ambition, and sometimes even redemption.
And the writers do such a good job of keeping us on the edge of our seats.
Always guessing. Wondering what's going to happen next.
It's what keeps us coming back week after week.
It really is. And even though we know it's scripted, there's still that element of surprise.
Like, Will they or won't they?
Exactly. It's like a soap opera.
But with body slams.
Yeah, it's body slams, yeah.
Okay, speaking of surprises, the one thing in the script that has me really curious is...
What's that?
The Rock.
Oh, yeah. The Rock.
The possibility of him getting involved is just huge.
It would be huge. I mean, think about it. He's a Hollywood A-lister.
Stepping back into the wrestling ring.
At WrestleMania, no less.
The biggest stage of them all. I mean, could you imagine the buzz?
It would be insane. The media frenzy.
But do you think there's a risk?
A risk?
Could The Rock's star power overshadow everything else?
That's a good question. I mean, WWE has to be careful.
They can't let him overshadow the current stars they're trying to build up.
They've got to strike a balance.
It's a tough call, but I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Yeah, they're pros after all.
Okay, let's talk about something else for a minute. Let's move beyond WWE.
Okay, sure.
What about AEW? They've become a major force in the industry.
They have, and they've done a great job of creating their own identity.
Attracting a whole new fan base.
Exactly. Their emphasis on athleticism, in-ring storytelling.
And their diverse roster.
They're really pushing the boundaries of what professional wrestling can be.
It's refreshing to see.
And they're not afraid to take risks.
So what storylines are you most excited about in AEW?
Well, there's Swerve Strickland going after the AEW World title.
That's a big one.
It is. He's facing some tough competition, though, Moxley and Copeland.
They're not going to make it easy for him.
No, they're not. And then there's the International title tournament.
Oh, yeah, that's heating up.
It is. And the debut of Speedball Mike Bailey has just added a whole other level of excitement.
He's supposed to be amazing, right?
He's phenomenal. His high-flying style, his athleticism.
Sounds like a game changer.
He is. And his victory over Beast Mordos was a real statement.
A sign of things to come.
And, of course, we can't forget about MJF.
Oh, yeah. What's he up to?
Well, the script suggests he might be aligning with the Hurt Syndicate.
That would be interesting.
It would definitely shake things up in AEW.
MJF, he's always thinking a few steps ahead.
Always scheming.
You know, as we're talking about all this, it really hits me how important storytelling is in professional wrestling.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about the physicality.
No, it's about creating characters and storylines that people connect with.
It's about making the audience feel something.
Whether it's joy, excitement, anger, or even sadness.
Wrestling has a way of tapping into our emotions like nothing else.
And it's not easy to do that.
To make people believe in something.
Even if they know it's predetermined.
It takes real skill and a deep understanding of human psychology.
It's like you said before, it's an art form.
And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize.
They dismiss wrestling as fake.
But it's so much more than that.
The athleticism is real, the passion is real, and the stories, well, they have the power to move us in ways that we never expected.
It's about escapism, sure, but it's also about connecting with something larger than ourselves.
Sharing in a collective experience.
Cheering for the heroes, booing the villains.
It's a universal language.
Okay, I think it's time to move on to the final part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
But before we do, I want to leave you with a thought.
Okay, hit me.
We've talked a lot about what makes wrestling so captivating.
We have.
But at its core, I think it's important to remember that wrestling is about entertainment.
It's about giving the fans a show, an experience that they'll remember.
It's about transporting them to another world, a world of larger-than-life characters and epic battles.
It's about providing an escape from reality.
And that's something truly special. It really is an escape, and this podcast script, it gives us such a fascinating look at how those moments are created.
It's like we're getting a sneak peek behind the curtain, right?
Exactly, like we're in the writer's room seeing how they come up with these elaborate storylines.
And how they anticipate the audience's reaction.
It makes you realize how much thought and planning goes into every detail.
It's like a well-choreographed dance.
You know, sometimes people dismiss wrestling as just fake.
Right.
But there's so much artistry involved.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be a talented athlete, a charismatic performer, and a skilled storyteller.
And let's not forget, tough.
Yeah. These guys and gals put their bodies on the line every single night.
It's a grueling profession.
Demanding, both physically and mentally.
But the rewards must be incredible.
The roar of the crowd, the adulation of the fans.
The chance to become a legend.
It's a dream come true for many of them.
And you know, they have such a powerful impact on their fans.
Oh, yeah.
They can be role models, inspirations.
Even heroes.
And that's something that I think often gets overlooked.
People forget that there's a real human connection there.
Between the wrestlers and the fans.
It's a shared passion.
And it's that connection that keeps the industry going.
It keeps the fans coming back for more.
You know, it's kind of like A family. Maybe a little dysfunctional, but a family nonetheless.
Definitely. A family bound by a love of wrestling.
Well said, well said. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From the drama and rivalries to the athleticism and the business side of things.
And the fans, of course.
The heart and soul of professional wrestling.
Without a doubt.
And I think we've only just scratched the surface.
There's always more to explore.
New stories to uncover.
New matches to anticipate.
It's a world that never stands still.
Always evolving.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
Absolutely. To our listeners out there, we encourage you to keep exploring this world, to delve deeper into the storylines and appreciate the incredible talent and dedication of these athletes.
We started this deep dive with a behind-the-scenes look at how wrestling stories are crafted, and now we want to challenge you to tap into your own creativity. Imagine you're a wrestling writer. What kind of world would you create? What heroes and villains would you bring to life?
What unforgettable moments would you orchestrate? The possibilities are endless.
So step into the ring, unleash your imagination, and let the drama unfold. That's it for this deep dive into the world of professional wrestling. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.